Whoa!
Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Mattson Heiner,
Better red than dead.
and Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
I almost forgot Alec's name because that was funny.
It's been a minute. Had to bring it back.
Well, and the worst part is I was pulling up my sheet to have all the stuff I was going to say, so I wasn't even looking at you. All I heard was "David," and I went, "What the fuck is happening right now?" It's a good way to start the podcast. And with that, welcome to the podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification, all those buttons. Tell a friend about us. Tell Wizards of the Coast about us because they're a bunch of assholes right now. And apparently I've been convinced I'm going to post my rant about them online. So you'll probably be able to check that on YouTube as well.
Charles, hound him about it. And Gray, hound him about it. Fanmaster69, if you listen to us, you want to hear this too.
Yeah, I did kind of go off there. A lot of speculation. We'll see what happens. I'll probably post it.
I don't even know enough about it or care too much about it, but it was interesting to listen to.
I'm glad I was able to intrigue. Maybe that's what our next crazy shit will be about.
Should be. That's
Except
a precursor.
It'll be dumb shit. There it is. That's what it'll be. I still owe Charles an episode about kidney stones, so we'll do that too. But yeah, maybe I'll throw that in there too. Yeah, I like this idea. Anyway, we appreciate you tuning in. We're going to talk about the movie Plane. It was released January 13th, 2023. It was written by Charles. This is terrible. Charles Cumming and J.P. Davis. It's like, what a great episode for that name to come up, because I didn't know that. Because I scrolled up and there it was.
Cumming P.
Yep. Charles Cumming and J.P. Davis. It's just perfect. Charles, that's not an invitation. It was directed by Jean-Francois Richet, some French name there. It stars Gerard Butler, Daniela Pineda, Mike Coulter, Tony Goldwyn, Lily Krug, Evan Dane Taylor, Kelly Gale, Tara Westwood, and Paul Ben Victor. A pilot finds himself caught in a war zone after he's forced to land his commercial aircraft during a terrible storm. Okay, I have to get this conversation started about this movie because this movie is I still am confused by this movie, but movie,
you better tell the listeners we're about to spoil. You got to say your normal phrase because
it is pretty new, isn't it? Yeah, it's new. So if you haven't seen this and you want to avoid spoilers, now's the time to pause the podcast. Come back, pick up where you left off after you've watched it, because we're about to spoil
this. Got off the fucking rails so quick.
I don't know.
Love
this is what happens when you make me do rants before we start recording. I can't think straight.
It's leading new, so if you don't fucking want no fucking spoilers, make sure you don't fucking watch any.
Yeah, dude.
Look, what JJ wants to talk about right now. let me just give my synopsis here, because IMDb only tells basically the first 15 minutes of this movie. That's because fair. It's on a plane. There's some intimate weather. Poor decisions were made. Plane gets shocked by lightning, and all hell breaks loose. But then that's where IMDb really stops. And then we all of a sudden end up on an island that the plane landed on, and we just get people that have not seen other people for a very long time and hate those people and want to hurt and harm everyone's lives. And it's a story of survival that I did not see coming, and a story of getting arrested and then saving. I'm just trying to be deliberately confusing because that's what this movie felt like at times. There's all these things that I just was not expecting, and they named the movie Plane when it didn't. It was like, yeah, there's a plane, but there was so much more than a plane.
Yeah, it was
intimate weather. What are you, a fucking meteorologist now?
Just so you know, I had a kind of intimate. I was like, wait, what? That's that kinky rain you're talking about. Sorry, I am off my shit right now. Like, this is what happens. I'm telling you. Yeah, that was a good synopsis, Mattson. I'm into it. But here's my problem with this movie, and yet here's the thing I love about this movie. This movie is a handful of fringe A-list actors There's one A-list actor who's kind of fringe A-list now. If it weren't for some really terrible, violent movies that got made about breaking into the White House and then London and then everything else that had to do with planes or the president.
You mean the greatest trilogy ever?
Yeah, greatest trilogy, my ass. Or a bunch of like fringe, like actual B-list actors that at one time were fringe A-list actors, like Tony Goldwyn. Like you have so many, and what it was is they're all like, yeah, I want a paycheck. And then this writer and director were like, if we can get somebody, we can get this movie made. But here's the problem. I say all that going, if I had known that going in, I probably wouldn't have been excited about this movie at all. Not that I was super excited anyway, but I left going, I have a hard time not enjoying this movie because this movie did not take itself seriously at all. It was exactly what it said it was going to be. It did exactly what it needed to do in order to tell the story it was trying to tell, no matter how fantastical or full of shit this movie was. It never tried to like over explain itself. It just was, we're going to be on a plane. We're going to almost wreck said plane. A lot of people are going to die very violently. Somehow we're going to escape with almost everyone.
The same plane.
Yeah. We're going to fly the exact same plane out of here somehow, which we're not really going to explain, except for we're going to switch one wire from this board to this board. And then that son bitch is going to work just enough to get us to the next island in the Philippines, and we're okay.
Makes perfect sense.
But I was wildly entertained for 90% of this movie.
I just have to say, towards the end, when they fly from that island to the other island, and they have to go 50 miles, and all of a sudden, they do a jump cut where they're about to land. I'm like, it felt like we had like 49 miles to go and you were about to drop out of the sky. And then we showed up at the next runway. I was like, I didn't think we were making that. We were only going 160 knots. Like, that's not a lot. That's not fast. And you're only like 300 feet up in the air. We're probably going down.
Like I said, 90% like accurate.
The physics of this movie,
accurate or
the
funny
suspension of disbelief, a lot of it, I was like, I think if we had a plane expert on here, they'd be like, depressurized cabin, short runway. This plane looks really heavy because it's an older plane. We're probably just effed already.
But do keep in mind, 160 knots, I didn't remember that number, but if it's actually 160 knots, that's like 185 miles an hour, which 50 miles goes pretty quick going close to 200 miles an hour. But you still should have taken about 15 minutes.
We could consult the Google and see if that's even enough airspeed to keep that thing up in the air for a long enough period. Anyways,
yeah,
it's all on brand for this movie.
Sure.
Well, here's the thing, though. A lot of it was accurate because Oshie works for American Airlines on the ramp.
Oh,
and
really?
so, like,
there we go. Bring
the
an expert
checks that Gerard Butler was doing when he was like checking the wheels before they take off for the last time and stuff like that. That's all accurate. That's the checks that they do.
Sure.
And
does Oshie know how to do electrical inside the main wheel and move wire?
No, they don't let the ramp anywhere near the actual electrical working of the plane. They unplug the AC. That's what they do.
Oh man!
But
I'm just saying
they're backing up. Well, at least they had something in.
Where'd they get another circuit breaker? Because it was fried.
One of the trucks.
All I'm saying is, like, I remember him saying to the co-pilot, "We got him like." There's this something is gone and this something's messed up, and so we need to switch this wire to this wire to get power to the plane so that we can have some air conditioning to be in the plane, not sitting outside of it. And then all of a sudden, because he switched that wire, that some bitch is flyable. I was like, I call bullshit. I was like, I can't even switch a wire in my house and have 2 sets of lights work. Come on now.
It made me think of Apollo 13 when they were having like battery problems, and I was like, and that was real, and that seemed effed up.
Yeah. And again, I know nothing about planes, so maybe that could happen. I don't know. You would think that with the time they put into making sure that all the pre-check stuff and all the language and the jargon they were using was correct. But I don't know. I'd still be like, if I'm getting on that plane, the captain's like, well, you can either be kidnapped and try to be sold, probably dead, or you can land in the ocean and drown, because that just seemed like both my options there. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I'm dead either way. I don't know if I'm getting in that plane at the end of this movie.
Well, it was rather convenient when they found the road on the island, and it wasn't just a road. It all of a sudden turned into like a landable landing strip. I was like, where did that come from? Because otherwise, they're getting destroyed. Their wings, everything ripped off. Movie's over in like 10 minutes.
Well, and that's the other issue that I had, to be honest with you, because when they landed on that island, they show the plane cutting down all these trees with the wings. And I'm like, then you try to tell me that this is an uninhabited island except for a few militias. Those trees would be much bigger than that. And you're not just cutting through those trees. Those trees are ripping through the metal on that. Like, those are some tough trees. You ever tried to take a tree down, even with a sharpened piece of metal? It takes a lot.
And planes aren't destructible at all. You ever seen what a bird does to a plane?
Yeah. Seriously.
That was what got me, because I think Gerard Butler says, like, these things are pretty tough. No, they're not.
Yeah,
well, this is like an aluminum body, so it wasn't composite, so maybe there was some more strength. But it was just so when they landed, I was like, well, the road looked real skinny. When did it get bigger? Like, when did we find that little piece of land there?
About 27 minutes into the movie when we all blinked.
Yeah.
But I got to go back when the way that lady died.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was trying to, because I've been on a lot of planes. Next time I get on a plane, maybe JJ did this. Like, you felt up there in the seat in front of you, like, if I hit that way, like, am I going to die? I was like, I wasn't expecting that.
I think I think if I did it, I'm okay. I'm a big dude. I got some padding there. She was little. She bounced off that ceiling, came down flat on the top of that seat. And those seats are no joke. Like, they're pretty tough. For someone like her size, I bet, I could see it snapping her up.
Ugh.
But yeah, the crunch, it was pretty bad. And then the dude breaking his neck. Like, I will say this, though. So, 2 funny stories. I told you guys this. I'm sitting in the movie theater with Casey a day before I have to get on a plane and fly to Texas for a work trip. And I don't like flying. I hate flying. And I'm like, I lean over Casey. I was like, well, this is an unfortunate movie to have to watch this week. And she just starts laughing. But on top of that, like, I was on the plane coming home yesterday, and we hit some rough air coming into Utah because, shocker, we never hit rough air coming into stupid winterized Utah. We hit this rough air, and I'm on this little freaking stupid two seats on, or 3 seats. Yeah, 2 seats on one row, 3 seats on the other. So not the littlest plane, but it's the littlest plane that they travel for 3 hours, almost 4 hours on. So I'm like sitting on this thing, and everything had been pretty fine until we're coming into Salt Lake. We start our final descent, and then start shaking and bouncing. I got my seatbelt on, half in the bag. And the thing starts shaking, and it does this little jerk up motion and down like it does. And I was like, yeah, if I didn't have my seatbelt on, I would have hit the ceiling. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts
was
about
that bad?
So,
Are you sure?
It was rough. Like, because it hurt my thighs. Like, when I went up and the seatbelt caught me, I was like, ow. That hurt. I was like, I would have definitely hit the ceiling if I hadn't had my seatbelt on. And it was funny because you could see and it was good too, because the flight attendant group had just sat down, and I wasn't that far. I was just past first class, so I could see this flight attendant in the front of the plane. And he was like, right, he had sat down like 2 minutes before it happened, and even he was like, it was a good thing I sat down. In his head, he didn't say it, but you could see him thinking it. That was a big bounce. It was not fun.
Yeah, I've been in some turbulent flights. Ironically enough, also when I lived in Utah, there was a point where I was coming back from San Jose, California, and we came to Salt Lake, and the weather, it was so windy that we kept going in a circular pattern and getting roughed up. Mm-hmm. And it was the point where the type of turbulence that we had was more left to right. So it was shaking us, where everyone had their hands in the front seat, and then you would just like move that way and like get bumped. And I was starting to get like pretty nauseous because we were just kept circling, and we were a minute away from having to fly up to Idaho, Idaho Falls area or whatever, just to get more fuel. And thank goodness the wind dispersed for enough time for us to land, because that was the worst. That was the worst turbulence I've ever experienced. That's the only time I've white knuckled and been like, I could get off this plane and not get on a plane for a while.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
Oh, I hate it. Have you ever flown out of John Wayne Airport?
Yeah. I love
Fuck
John
Wayne Airport. You ever flown out of John Wayne, Mattson?
Mm-mm.
So let me tell you about John Wayne. What's that stupid city that John Wayne's over top of? Something beach.
Santa Ana?
No, that's the winds that almost make me want to puke when I'm on a plane. Gosh dang it. There's a city that it's in Santa Ana, but you fly over a city that has a noise ordinance. What is this stupid thing? Yeah, I was like,
Redondo Beach.
No, it's the
Pebble
richest beach. Anyway, Newport Beach. I was looking it up, so Newport has a sound ordinance, and they did it because they built this airport there. And they built the airport there because LAX was too busy because of Disney World and Disneyland and all that shit. So John Wayne Airport is the airport to fly into when you're going to Disney if you want the closer airport. But Newport Beach went, fuck you. We're loaded and we can make the law so that you have to deal with sound ordinance. So when you fly over, which you have to fly over coming in and out of John Wayne Airport, the noise ordinance is such that you have to power the engine all the way back. Okay. Some pilots like to tell you about this. Other pilots don't. But in order to do that, you have to reach a certain height. So when you're taking off and flying over Newport Beach, you don't take off like a normal airplane, like where you're like, ooh, you hear the whining noise, and then all of a sudden you're going, and then you're going faster, you lift off. No. It's like sitting on one of those fucking roller coasters that goes from 0 to fucking 60 in 2.1 seconds. You're sitting in the thing. It's like, we're next up on the freaking go. And you're like, and you're back in your seat, and it's full throttle to the end of the runway. And then it goes up, and goes up gradually like most airplanes. It's nose to the sky, and it is getting as high as you can. And I'm like, why is this happening right now? Then you get to a peak, and the nose all of a sudden the plane gets real quiet because they have to turn the engines not off, but they have to pull them back to nothing. So you're up, the nose goes down, and it gets real quiet. So you're all of a sudden like, did they just turn the fucking plane off? Because this is some bullshit. And all the while, you've got the Santa Ana winds coming out of, I don't know, Santa Ana, California, that make you feel like you're going to die. Fuck John Wayne Airport.
I want to get on a plane with JJ. I feel like that would be the most amazing experience ever.
It's horrible. I hate flying.
Hey, when we all make it with What's Our Verdict, then we'll be flying somewhere special.
That's right.
To that segue, one thing I did like about the show is that with the 14 people on the plane plus the rest of the guy, they did a good job showing travelers. Like, you got your distracted, kind of annoying business guy that just said, can you get me what did he say? That guy was just so annoying. And you got the other kind of jerk guy that had his friend in first class. And then the girls, and a whole bunch of the couple, a whole bunch of other people. But there's basically two types of people, though, once this crisis hit. And there's the people that are complaining even after their lives have been saved and they are alive. And there's the other people that are like, we can just be grateful to be alive and stop like bitching and moaning. And I know we all think we're going to be like the grateful people, but I wonder, like, well, who would I be in that camp? And it's just funny to see because crisis brings out the best and worst in people.
That's true. That is true.
I'd be one of the complainers, hands down.
Me too.
Not for any other reason than I just like to complain.
I would have been a meaner captain if I was I'd have been like, well, yeah, we don't know where we are. We don't even have a freaking electricity. You guys be like, oh, you don't know. Like, deal with it. At least you're alive.
He was a meaner captain. Did you not see that video? There's a reason he's flying that Tokyo to Singapore flight.
Well, he was a lot nicer to some of those people when they were back talking. I just wanted to be like, you got a better idea. You go figure it out.
That's funny.
He dropped that guy like it was third period French.
Yeah, I mean, good for him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's, it was one of those lines like, where again, it was like so indicative of this film when they find out that this plane's gone down and they find out who the captain is, and like the guy from the airline's like, shit, had to be him. And the fixer's sitting there like, tell me about him, show me. And they show him this video, and this guy's like, I like this guy. Like, it's just like so this movie. And I think that, like I said, that's what I enjoyed about it, is even in those moments where like you could make a big deal of like having this another like second or third or fourth storyline. There's only one storyline to this movie. This movie doesn't get cute. It doesn't get fancy. It doesn't get crazy. There's a captain and a bunch of people that crash on an island, and they're under attack. And that's about it. And then you have like everything else that's going on around it moves the storyline forward. And even though some of it might not have been necessary, they weren't trying to like over fancy this thing. It wasn't even like he spent a bunch of time talking about his daughter or whatever. It was just, hey, I got to call her because my airline's a bunch of assholes and won't take my call.
Yeah, but is he even going to be able to make that call? When he was dialing, I'm like, how did he dial out? He's in the middle of nowhere. How is that call even going to where he wants it to go?
Well,
I guess he dialed one before and then dialed the rest of the number. How's he calling long distance like that?
Well, phones are phones, and if there's towers for it, the call will go out. It's just a matter of, I mean, sure, but I think that's what he was showing with the rewire, where he rewired it to get around the electrical system, which you can do if you have a switchboard like that, like an actual big phone that's not, because it has multiple lines. You can actually hotwire the phone to make a phone call. Now, I do think he would have had to have called collect, not just dialed a phone number and had it go through. But because it was a toll-free number for the airline, maybe, because technically they can't charge you long distance for a toll-free number, because he did call the 1-800 number, and that might be why he did that. But I was laughing my ass off when the lady's like, no, we've had a ton of prank calls. You're done.
That stuff does happen, though, unfortunately. So
oh, sure.
Can't say that. But this movie is another area where there was one wire that he had to get working correctly to get something to work. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
That's all you need. Just one wire.
That one made a lot more sense to me. I didn't question that at all. But the damn whole plane running because of one wire, that one was a struggle for me. That one will always be a struggle for me.
But yeah, you make a good point, JJ. There wasn't a lot of beneath the surface stuff. I mean, they had the story between the prisoner and his backstory, but they use that to kind of drive along, but help the captain in saving the crew. And then obviously we knew that the prisoner was going to disappear because he's not trying to go back to the States, but they didn't. I don't feel like they leaned fully into that, which was good because I think they just use things as a means to an end. And I liked what they did with the bad guy that they didn't do, was just pissed off all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'd like too that like it showed how capable that the guy from the French Foreign Legion was. Like, and I realized it was all kind of in your face and over the top. Like he's just capping people. Then the Woods, like, I don't give a shit. And he's very capable because it made it believable at the end when he's like, no, I'm just going to take your $500,000 and disappear on an island that's obviously everyone here is going to try to kill me. But I'm not questioning whether or not he makes it off that island. I'm like, no, he's good. I get that. I'd stay there too. You know what I mean? Like I'd take that money and run as well. But I guess it's to your point. It's like they don't try to over explain things. They give you just enough for things to make kind of sense, or enough sense that I can forgive the fact that I still don't understand the wire. But other than that, like I'm okay with it. Like you had people like you're talking about stepping up, like the co-pilot like is kind of stepping up in a lot of ways. Like even the freaking rich dude that was a dickhead shuts his pie hole before the end of the movie. You know what I mean? Like, and even he's nice. So it's one of those things where they were pretty realistic to people changing who they were typically, or at least who we saw at the beginning of the film, to fit the scenario, which a lot of times in a movie like this with full of action and people in danger, you don't get shit like that. Like I think of Die Hard and the dude that wants John's wife and he's like, I can negotiate. I negotiate $20 million deals every day. And he walks in with a bunch of terrorists. You're like, yeah. Freaking whatever he called, Booby, let's make a deal. And it's like, shut up. This guy's got machine guns and all sorts of shit. You're not going to go in there and do some blow with this dude while you negotiate and call him Booby. Come on. Yeah.
Was the 50 cal, the Barrett sniper rifle, can that go through two sides of a car and still launch a human being off its feet? That
I
seemed
hope so. That was my favorite part.
That
I
seemed
hope so,
utterly
too.
disbelievable.
But imagine the psychological warfare. And it came in that funny payout line where the guys were one of the Filipino guys was like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
Like, this is not what I signed up to fight.
Yeah.
That entire mercenary unit was amazing.
Wow. You should never Google 50 cal sniper rifle damage.
Okay, well, fuck you.
Don't do that.
Here we go. 50 cal.
Because there's one on here of like it blowing some shit up. Like it's more like a miniature bomb hits something.
Oh, yeah. Don't Google 50 caliber sniper rifle damage.
Yeah. Told you.
I regret this decision.
I take no responsibility for anybody that watches that.
And those are such big bullets.
Yeah. So I think the answer to that question, well, here's the problem. The answer to the question is, can it go through both sides of a car and hit a person? Yes. Can it go through both sides and send people flying? No. And the reason for that is it would cut that person in half. Because the real problem is we in Hollywood, they love to show bullets knocking people backwards. That's not how bullets work. That's how shotguns can work, but it's not because of the spread and the amount of, but bullets themselves, especially bullets that big with that much velocity, they go in and bounce around and they actually don't knock people over. Like it just pierces. It's not like there's enough pressure that people go like, so anytime you see the one exception maybe is the 50 cal, but it's just going to go right through them. If it's got enough power to go through two cars, it's just going to go right through them. But visually, it was pretty
really cool.
When they're just slamming into cars, and I'm with you, Alec. I love that line when he's like, "Who are these guys?"
I signed up to fight the Filipino army.
Yeah, and they don't even come here anymore. I thought we were kidnapping some stupid hostages. I didn't think we were taking on.
This day started out so different.
Yeah, yeah.
I tell you though, I was impressed with the chief, the Tagalog chief Datu, or I don't remember his actual name. But I didn't know this was his first movie debut. Like he's been a stunt guy for years and years and years, but this is the first time he got a role, like an actual film role.
Oh, really? Like the long-haired dude?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Like he did stunts in Peripheral, which we just reviewed a little while ago, and some other things that we've done. I was sitting there going, why is he just getting his shot now? Like shit. He was amazing.
He was really good. Oh, he was the fight coordinator for the Peripheral.
Yeah.
Like, so he's the one that did all the choreography and stuff. That's cool.
Which we all loved.
Yeah, it was great.
So I'm hoping we get to see him in more stuff.
Yeah,
because he was amazing.
Evan Dane Taylor is his name, the actor's name.
Okay, Evan Dane Taylor.
Wow,
I was
he's
really
a retired naval intelligence officer. Or his dad was.
Don't fight him.
Yeah.
He did die gruesomely, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Boom.
Which is another reason that I'm like, I don't think that plane actually gets in the air after that. But because even if you got up to speed, that's going to slow you down. Like, that's just physics. I mean, you hit a Jeep.
The amount of problems that they already have in a depressurized cabin and the drag, it's probably not happening.
Yeah, that was my other one. I was like, you got 4 doors wide open and some stairs down. Man, you got some serious drag.
Yeah,
but it looked cool.
Oh yeah, no, it looked great. Like I said, the movie was fun enough in the dumbest of ways that I didn't even come out bitching to Casey about all this stuff. It's like days later that I'm like, okay, there was some really stupid shit in there, but it was entertaining. Like I said, I walked out going, that movie did not try to be anything other than it was. And I appreciate that because so many movies and films and even TV shows try way too damn hard these days. And I appreciate a film that's like, you know what? We're going to make a wildly unbelievable film with one good actor, a couple of decent actors, and a lot of
Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
And
a lot of
Gerard Butler,
derogatory,
a good actor.
a lot of violence that has no need, and then we'll make them do some really silly shit like flying planes that are fixed with
Gerard
switching
Butler
a wire over.
Is a good actor, but it's more like was a good actor. It's more just because of the movies he's been in. You're just like, dude, if you're good, why are you doing these movies?
I think it's harder to get movies than we might obviously let on because we know. But he's getting older, and he's a fringe. That's why I say he's a fringe A-list actor. You know, he had a couple of great films, and I think he's a phenomenal actor because I've seen him in some films that before he was famous.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Frankie is one of the best movies out there, and he's amazing in it. But it's old, and it's one of those things where I'm like, but I kudos to him too for he gets himself some movies where he makes money. Because I mean, for all the bullshit I talk on this movie, like it's been out for 2 weeks now, and I don't even think it's been out a full 2 weeks, and I'm pretty sure it's already based on the budget and and I think they're already kind of in the black. So
can't argue with that.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah. Again, they may not make a ton of money with it, but it made money. So
must be one of those 15% Mattson sent us in that picture.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's interesting.
I didn't know that.
Well, I just watched a 50 cal go through a human torso of like the kind they use in like Mythbusters style and everything. It went right through it. Didn't slice in half, but that was down in the stomach area. They shot it up in the chest area, much more of a gaping hole because of the bone structure and everything. But it does not look like it would cut you in half.
But it wouldn't throw you across the room either.
No, there's no way what had the physics in this movie that's just not happening. Sure,
well, did
look
they
cool,
shoot it in the Filipino Islands? I mean, the air's different there. There's a whole other slew of variables you got to factor in.
I think it would have been more believable if they shot the vehicle and like the door, like a piece of the door came flying off the vehicle and then slammed them into the car behind. But again,
not as cool.
It doesn't look as cool. Like, I mean, I was watching it going, that looks cool. Not real, but it looks cool.
It sure looked cool.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
And that's all we come to movies sometimes for.
Especially this movie. By the time we get to that point, I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it. I'm very okay with it. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with him running over the bad guy with an airplane. It just
does the what do they call the guy, the flight marshal or whatever? Does he keep his job or not?
He's dead.
No, the guy that made the call on the weather.
Oh, the weather guy.
Hell no.
No, they're gonna promote him to a different position.
Yeah. No, he won't keep his job, but he'll still get his bonus.
Lateral move.
That was so that those couple one-liner comments from the crisis guy to that dude were just so classic for me.
Oh yeah.
Like, who's the asshat that made him fly through this?
Yeah.
Like how much money we save? Like, or how much fuel do we save? I don't know, like 12,000.
It's like 18,000 gallons or something, or 1,800 gallons or something.
Yeah, it was probably 1,800. Yeah, it's just like, dang, just cut deep.
Yeah, so good.
Oh, what's funny about that is though, the guy probably made the right call by protocol, and that's how corporations see stuff until it goes wrong. That's the only time they care.
Yep.
Because if he did the other way, you know that someone would have complained, like, "What are you doing? Like, just tell him to fly higher." So you feel for that guy a little bit.
Sure.
No.
Hey man, middle management, you're kind of in a shitty position. They want you to be safe and make money. It's hard to do both.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I feel like when crisis happens like that.
Here's how much power Gerard Butler has when you hire him for a shitty movie, though. The studio originally wanted to give this a different name, a different title, but he insisted on keeping it simple, and so that's why they went with Plane. So this guy can say, "You want me in your movie?
Keep it simple, bitch.
Stupid." That's right.
Kiss him.
Awesome.
Oh god, I love it because you know that's what shit happened too. He'd like, no.
I hope the original title was just like a full-blown paragraph.
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, what else would you call it though? Like that's crash in the Philippines.
I was just thinking Mattson synopsis worked really well. That should just been the title.
Yeah.
They could have done weather, plane, island.
Boom. Fair enough. I mean,
plane.
You hit all the important parts.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't even know what you'd call it. It's so dumb.
I don't know if I have anything else to say except this was a wildly chaotic, weird, pieced together movie, but it was all right.
There were some interesting errors made in the film. Not the ones that we talked about, but little simple ones. Like when the Gerard Butler leaves the cockpit to check on the passengers, can't do that since 9/11. The cockpit doors are sealed during the flight. So they can't. The pilots can't actually leave the flight.
Oh, you can't get out ever.
They don't until they land. Once the plane is leaves the whatever that stupid extendo bridge is. Once it leaves that area, the jet bridge. Once it leaves that, the cockpit does not open. Apparently, somewhere in there was somebody on the radio that they heard using the number 9. And in aviation radio communications, it would only ever be 9er, so as to avoid communication with or miscommunication with 5.
Wait, how do pilots go to the bathroom?
I think the cockpit has a built-in bathroom. And if those, not on all flights, I'm sure. I mean, I don't pee during a flight if I can help it, but I'm sure the bigger planes with the bigger, longer flights, I bet they have a pisser somewhere.
Well, sometimes you just got to go, though.
True. Maybe they put a bottle in there.
What about 2?
Better go before you get on the plane.
You're asking a lot of questions here.
What if you had a bad airport burrito or something?
I think Mattson has just figured out why sometimes planes leave a little late.
That or man, shoot, if you had a bad airport burrito, then you like farting up your
that cockpit. Sounds like a personal problem to me.
Yeah, and you could die if you like gas. It's just enough like beef burrito farts in there.
I love it. Oh, God.
Hot boxing in the cockpit.
That's great stuff. All right, well, let's rate this thing. I'll go first. Look, this movie was entertaining. As stupid as it was and pointless as it was, that was part of the charm of this movie. I don't think they were trying to do anything except be entertaining. I love Gerard Butler, no matter how bad the movie he is in is. I mean, I've shit all over his movies in the past, but not as bad as I did on, the other version of the Kidnapping the President movie, but stupid movie. Channing Tatum, whatever. Anyway, so this one, though, like, it's pretty rough when you think about it, but as long as you don't think about it, I think you'd be entertained. I don't know that I would watch this movie in my house. Like, I'm kind of glad I went to the theater because it's big, it's loud. I think I'd be pretty pissed if it had been a streaming only and I'd watched it. I think it would have a very different outlook on this movie, but there were some parts that were pretty cool in the theater looking and then the sound was great, but I mean, it's a pointless movie. So if you're just looking to go watch some mind-numbing violence and Gerard Butler doing what Gerard Butler does in films with arbitrary violence and being really good for being a pilot at being in the military and giving fake acting like he is remorseful about killing somebody. I mean, sure, it's your movie. We didn't even talk about Mike Coulter, who outside of Marvel being Power Man or Luke Cage I don't even know what else the hell the dude's been in, but even he was like just dry as Mike Coulter is and killed a bunch of people and we moved on. I don't know. Like I want to hate this movie, but I'm going to give it a 3. Like, it's just like, I can't find anything wrong that I don't go, yeah, but I still had fun. So I'm going to give it a 3. It's better than average entertaining, in my opinion. I had fun. I left the theater and I couldn't even be like mad that I went and saw it, other than I had to get on a flight the next day. That's the only thing that pissed me off about this movie. So there it is. It's a 3. I'll never watch it again. It's not that good. but one time, it was fun. All right, Alec, what about you, buddy?
I enjoyed this movie. I loved it. I think they did a really good job through like the intense scenes of keeping kind of the tension. That's the best way I could put it. Where and they kind of connected those scenes well, where they gave you a little bit to keep a little bit of tension throughout the entire film, which I enjoyed. It kept me entertained and interested because I wanted to see what was happening next. Even in the kind of the slower parts of the movie, there was still something else that was going on. So I never kind of kicked back and was like, okay, we settled into, act 2 of this movie. Time to catch a quick nap before the end comes. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, same thing. I walked out being like, that was amazing. Was it? Not really, but it was. This is by no means a cinematic masterpiece, but I enjoyed it. I went and I had fun. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. Nice. Kind of the same boat as you, JJ. I probably won't ever watch this again, but I'm not mad that I watched it.
Yeah.
It was great. So fuck whoever made this movie, Charlie Cummins.
He wrote it. All right, Mattson, wrap it up, buddy.
Look, first off, this movie was in color.
Fair enough. Well played, sir.
This movie, while it didn't make sense, it was intense at the right moments. And I think this movie's a classic case of low expectations, or for me, I'd had no expectations. I just knew we were going to get on a plane and it probably wasn't going to go well. I was wondering if there's going to be snakes on the plane, but there wasn't. It's just, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, when they landed the plane and after the first 15 or 20 minutes, whatever it was, I was like, so what now? I thought we were going to be on this plane for a lot longer. And like the crisis, I thought the criminal was going to like bust out. They were going to have to figure out how to deal with that on the plane and all, something we've kind of seen before. And that didn't happen either. And so I was like, we still got like solid like hour and 10 left. Like, where is this thing going? And I think that's how this movie kind of felt. And I didn't really mind where we were going, from the hostages to the crazy bad guy to the 50 cal to the complaining hostage passengers. I mean, it was like, yeah. And then Gerard Butler doing his thing and being a tough guy, but kind of like an in shape, out of shape tough guy. Like, and the crisis manager, I liked him and his smugness and his directness. I mean, just got a lot of stuff that was put together in a bottle, shaken up and poured out, and we called it plain. It tasted pretty good. Like, I'd drink it. I don't know if I'd buy it again, but so because of that, this movie's average, but slightly above average from the entertainment value. So I'd give it a 3. I mean, I walked out. I even felt a little bit of emotion at the end when he's sitting at the back of the plane. I'm like, oh man, he's alive. Like, wow, good for him. Good for them. And yeah, it's a 3. Yeah. Maybe if it's on some streaming platform one day and it's there and I can't think of anything else, I'll put it on. But I'll tell you what, I doubt this movie's going to be on the airlines. There's no way they're going to let you watch that on the plane.
That's fair. I did have that same thought. I was like, oh, this is not one that you'll catch on the airline one day.
No, if that's funny. An easy Delta, Southwest, Alaska, like,
nah.
Nope. Good. We'll blacklist that.
Yeah. I will say 2 things. Gerard Butler character took a beating and just still, that guy, 2 bullets, even though I love the explanation. I think they were just ricochets. I'm like, come on. And I love that they comment, you took a beating, Cap. You good? Yeah, I'm good. Whatever, dude.
I guess blood loss isn't a thing in this movie because I'm like, yeah, you got 2 gaping holes in you, buddy.
Blood loss and like all broken ribs and he took
crushed windpipe
beating in that street. Anyway, the other thing is it did have some of the best, if not the best, sledgehammer kills I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh.
When he came walking around the corner with that, I was like, oh shit just got real.
Dude, I was like, Last of Us.
Yeah, it was great, dude. What a great, couple sledgehammer
Actually, the only line this movie needed is when he took the beating from the bad guys in the street as he was trying to distract, and the soldiers showed up. I would have loved him to be like, it seemed like you guys were like already here. Could you have shown up like 20 seconds ago?
Seriously. But I love that they just throw down the t-shirt or like his shirt as proof. Here, come with us.
Yeah, I'm like, now that you say Jay, I was like, I don't think he'd be really moving all
No.
that well. Like, I'm pretty sure maybe that pays to be a little squishy. Maybe that's the lesson
That's
that we
fair.
need here. You need a little insulation on the body.
That's fair. And even if he was moving, like, I don't know, adrenaline does a lot for you, but he was broke. Like, there's some broken shit in that dude. So I don't know. Like, thankfully, they didn't hit him in the legs at all. So you're good. He can run. Anyway, it's all things that I'm thinking of now. Like, when I was watching it, I'm like, run, get him. Yeah, this is cool shit. Like, it's fucking
Get
fun.
on the bus.
Yeah, seriously, get on the goddamn plane and fly it, fucker. You got your wire placed right. All right. I think that's it. What a fun, weird movie to review, especially after getting me all worked up mentally and us kind of having a moment there at the beginning. But as always, we appreciate you tuning in. And Alec, tell everybody where they can find us.
Happy to. Thank you for tuning into Playing, guys. Just playing. We appreciate the listen and the attention, especially the attention. Definitely an unfortunate film to watch right before getting on a plane, but that is what we in the business call comeuppance, JJ. Don't know exactly what this comeuppance would be for, but I'm sure that you did something somewhere at some point that would lead to you deserving this.
At least,
guys, we are in the midst of Content City currently, and if you are not subscribed to us or following us everywhere, you are missing out on What's Our Verdict contents. So make sure that you hit the notification button when you subscribe so you can be notified for our lives, new episodes, and when JJ is streaming his gameplays, which is Tuesday. So there will be one coming out tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, because today is Monday when you're listening to this.
Yeah.
See, I know my days of the week.
JJ's so off today.
Dude, I am not okay.
JJ's starting it easy with a Last of Us playthrough before he eventually moves in the big leagues with a Minecraft Let's Play series. I can't wait for that. We are also on Patreon, so if you're a longtime listener or just looking to support the podcast directly, you can search for us there and get special access to request specific content for us to do, as well as vote on any new content coming out. Special thanks to our current patron, Black and White and 4/3 aspect ratio. That makes
Damn
you
straight, Charles.
the 3 things Mattson hates most in this world when it comes to movies. That is quite the accomplishment. I salute you. With that being said, I will kick it back to the blunderbuss, the Prince of Powders, JJ.
Thank you. As always, that was great.
That's just, Charles, you just spurned my memory with the whole aspect ratio thing. Well, you know what? This movie had an absolute doo-doo on the small bits of special effects we did get. Like, can we make clouds look like real cloud? That was the plane.
That was pretty bad.
I was like, what is this, like PS3 graphics or something? It was sad.
Why do you think they made their fucking budget back in 2 weeks, Mattson?
I know, but you can have
it's strategic is what it is.
Steal some ready-made clouds from a different movie. Like,
ready-made clouds from different movie? You think clouds just form naturally, Mattson? Is that what you think?
Oh my gosh, it was so sad. And then it started getting me worked up about the name Trailblazer. I'm like, I don't know. It's just now.
Which airline is gonna volunteer to be used in?
No, they're not gonna give them a real come up with something more creative than that. Now I'm just getting mad. The clouds are so bad. And there was one other CGI aspect that was so stupidly terrible too. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, it's not going to come to me. Those clouds. So stupid.
We know Charles will listen to this point in the podcast, which we appreciate because, now you get to hear us argue again. He also sent me, just to make Mattson and all of us feel better, he sent me a list of Variety.com's best movies of all time. Number 92, Pink Flamingos. It just goes to prove that there are people in movie review decisioning companies
on
everywhere
psychedelics. That's all I'm saying. Like, at least
problems.
with Alex,
psychedelics don't help.
At least with Alex stuff with like Rosebud and like movies like The Great Dictator, all those, like I understand. I have a
Rosebud
where he says, where he says it. That tells you all you need to know about me in those movies.
But oh my gosh.
At least I can understand that there is great acting, great cinematography, well written, and there's like reasons it should be a good movie. But Pink Flamingo is none of those things and then some.
Yeah, but it's there. It is there.
And that tells me that list that it's on, JJ, is irrelevant.
What's 93 on that list? I want to know who got beat out first.
Oh, no, I got to pull it up again. Let me look.
Your mom's ass.
Could be. 93, Le Samurai. French movie about a samurai, maybe? I don't know. Bridesmaids, 94. Oh, wow. Wow. Toy Story, 95.
Wow. Charles, Toy Story is 3 spots behind Pink Flamingos, the greatest toys ever captured on a cinematic screen. You're telling me Buzz, Woody, Rex? Come on.
Wow.
Come on. That hurts.
The other rest of these don't matter, but Alien, the original Alien, was also worse at 97. Oof. And number 100, which proves to me that the Variety doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Number 100, the worst movie on the list, though the top 100 of all time is still really good. Too good for Pink Flamingos, but The Graduate, loses to Pink Flamingo, loses to half that list. Anyway,
how is what do they feel about She Dies Tomorrow? Because that's probably making the list.
It's number 1.
Yeah, no shit.
Dolphin
it had
sex
dolphin sex.
I knew JJ was going to say that.
It's the only thing I remember about that movie, other than it was terrible. Anyway, we're rambling and rambling. With that, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, whatever, Charles. Bye.
Hasta la vista.
Cinemagic out. Jesus.
Whoa!